You know how you can look at a bunch of numbers and they just don't mean anything? They're just a big, confusing jumble of data. Well, what if I told you that hidden inside that noise is a story, a really compelling one? And today, we're going to learn how to find it, how to read those stories using the right tools.
All right, let's jump right in with a little mystery. Imagine this. 3 different classes, 12A, 12B, and 12C, all take the exact same math test. The top score you can get is a 40. Now, the big question, the challenge for us today is, can you figure out which class actually performed the best?
So here it is, the raw evidence. All 63 test scores just thrown on the screen. Seriously, take a look at this wall of numbers. Can you tell me anything from this? No way, right? It's just a mess. To make any sense of this, to find that story we're looking for, we've got to start organizing.
So where do we even begin our investigation? Well, the first step is to find some kind of center for each class's data. We're on the hunt for a single number, just one, that can give us a feel for a typical score. This is going to be our very first clue.
Okay, our first tool for this is one you've definitely heard of. It's the mean. It's just a fancy word for what we all call the average. You know the drill, right? You add up every single score in the class, and then you just divide by the number of students. Super simple, super common.
Now, our second tool is the median, and the name kind of gives it away. Think medium, like the middle of the road. But here's the key. You have to line up all the scores first, from the lowest to the highest. The median is the number that's sitting smack dab in the middle of that lineup. It's the true halfway point.
Okay, so why do we need both? Here's the crucial difference. The mean, it's a bit of a people pleaser. It can get totally skewed by a few really high or really low scores. We call those outliers. So if you have a couple of geniuses who absolutely crush the test, they can drag the whole class's mean score way up. But the median, it's solid. It doesn't care about those extreme scores. It just hangs out right there in the middle, no matter what.
And boom, here's where we find our first major clue. Take a look. For Class C, the mean and median are practically the same. That's interesting, but look at Class A. The mean is way higher than the median. And Class B is the total opposite. The mean is way lower than the median. Whoa! This is telling us something really important is happening here, something that a simple average just can't show us.
So, finding the center gives us a pretty good hint, but is that the whole story? Not even close. It's just one piece of the puzzle. To really get what's going on, we need to ask another question. How consistent were these scores? I mean, were all the students getting similar grades, or were the scores just all over the place?
Right, so that's our next mission, to measure the spread of the scores. This is all about figuring out the consistency of each class.
And the tool we use for this is called standard deviation. I know, it sounds super technical, but trust me, the idea is really simple. It's just one number that tells you, on average, how far away each student's score is from the class mean. So a small standard deviation, that means everyone's scores are huddled together, nice and consistent. A big one, that means the scores are scattered all over the map.
And check this out. Here's what it looks like for our 3 classes. See that? Class A has a way bigger standard deviation than the other 2. That confirms what we were suspecting. Their scores were all over the place. Meanwhile, classes B and C are much more tightly packed, much more consistent.
Okay, let's take stock. We've got our clues. We know where the center is. We know how spread out the scores are. Now for the fun part. It's time to put it all together and actually see the data. We're going to create a picture that shows us its true shape.
All right, this is it. This is where everything we've done comes together. Get ready for that aha moment, because the story that's been hiding in all these numbers is about to become crystal clear.
We're going to do this with something called the 5-number summary. It's exactly what it sounds like, a quick snapshot of the data using just 5 key numbers. The absolute lowest score, the absolute highest score, our old friend the median right in the middle, and 2 other points called quartiles that basically mark the 25% and 75% spots.
And here's the really cool part. With just those 5 numbers, we can draw a picture, a visual that lets you see the entire story in a single glance. It's called a box and whisker plot.
And here they are, the whole story. All 3 classes lined up side by side. Just look at that. You don't need a PhD in statistics to see how incredibly different their performances were. The shape says it all.
So let's decode what we're seeing. Look at Class A. See how the main box of scores is kind of scrunched up on the left, but it has that long whisker stretching way out to the right? That's what we call positively skewed. It's the picture of a few really high scores pulling that mean way up, exactly what we saw in the numbers. Now look at Class B. It's the mirror image, right? It's negatively skewed, where a few low scores drag the mean down. And Class C? That's a classic. Beautifully balanced, perfectly symmetric.
So now that we can see the full picture, let's go all the way back to our original question. With everything we know now, which class was the best? Well, it's complicated, isn't it? Class A story is one of a very divided group. You had most students scoring pretty low, but then this small group of superstars just knocked it out of the park. Class B story is one of consistent high achievement. Almost everybody got a really high score. And Class C tells that classic bell curve story. A few low scores, a few high ones, and the big majority of students landed right there in the middle.
So, you see, there's no single, simple answer to who was best. It really depends on how you define best. Is it the class that produced the absolute top performers? Or is it the class where almost everyone succeeded? Statistics doesn't just hand us a simple verdict. What it does, which is so much more powerful, is give us a much richer, more complete story.
Think about it. We just did all this for a set of simple test scores. But what if you applied this exact same thinking? Find the center, measure the spread, see the shape, to something else. How could it help you understand a sports team's season stats, or the ups and downs of the stock market, or even the results from a new medical study? The world is full of data, and now you have the tools to start finding the stories hidden inside.